Hello, fellow classmates. Professor Paul Miller. I'm here to present my project to you guys. Um, this semester has been extremely interesting for me. I've definitely done a lot of things that I never thought I would do, and it has been quite the journey. So I start by asking you guys, how do you decide what you want to spend your precious time on? Um, how do you make that decision? It's something that a lot of people struggle with. How do you make time? How do you figure out what is important? A couple years ago, I kind of figured out that based off of the career path that I've decided to take, that my education was something that was very important to me, and that I wanted to continue to grow as an individual and within my career field. Hence why, after getting my associate's degree from Hack, took a year break and then jumped into a new journey at Central Penn College to obtain my bachelor's degree in corporate communications. Um, Throughout this project and this presentation, I'm kind of going to talk about what this class has provided me in the last 2.5 months. I'm going to talk about that journey as well as some of the highlights from my time doing community service hours at WITF 89.5 WITF Inc. The opportunity that I was given to post content on behalf of students at Central Penn College, thanks to Professor Paul Miller as well as Joseph, who does the digital post for Central Penn College. I'm also going to talk about the relationships that I've built within the community, how I decided to develop content, and what my strategy was behind the content that I posted. Kind of how I decided where I was going to spend my time, and how to do it with limited time. Um, so, back to time. Where do I find the time? Currently, I'm a full-time employee. I work as a call center supervisor over at FIA with a team of 20 individuals. I'm also a part-time student. This semester, being the fall semester, I've only taken 2 courses, but during the winter, I'm going to once again wrap it up and take 3 courses. I also do have a social life, and so it's very hard to juggle all these things. So I come back to the point: how do you decide what to put your time into, what to invest time into? And the truth is that when something is important to you, you make time for what that is. You make time for people that are important in your life, what you're passionate for, and the things that you want to do, the goals and the things that you want to achieve. I decided that my passion was my personal growth, my education, and succeeding in the goals that I put for myself in front of me. Making sure that I'm able to knock down those goals in a very limited amount of time. Um, I've been at Central Penn now for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, and all I can think about, honestly, every day is graduation. So, once you get to a course like this one, Projects in Corporate Communications, you know that you're getting towards the end. That's why we do this capstone project as well as complete community service hours. Some of my hours were completed at WITF, where I was able to connect with a young lady who does the outreach over there on their behalf by the name of Whitney Johnson. Coincidentally, Miss Whitney, when I first connected with her, was 9 months pregnant and about to give birth. However, through keeping in touch with her and keeping an open line of community, sending a lot of emails back and forth, and making sure that I got my hands on some important clearances, I was able to complete some community service hours for myself on behalf of Central Penn College and WITF. I was a part of their 2009 food drive, which was a partnership with Giant Food Stores, where we were able to collect $50,000 in donations, and Giant donated 50,000 pounds of food to Central Pennsylvania's food bank. Again, this was no easy feat. It was done in less than 24 hours, and I was able, granted to have the opportunity to be a part of that by keeping open lines of communication via email as well as through my LinkedIn profile. At the beginning of the semester, we were able to work on our LinkedIn profile and kind of add more zest to them. I've had my LinkedIn profile for several years, but even having it for several years, I was able to add more information, more things about myself through this class, including volunteer work, a couple of awards that I've gotten through the years, as well as pictures that picture of myself that I feel like really adds a face to the name. A couple of pictures here of WITF, what it looks out like on the outside as well as on the inside. During my time with WITF, I was able to use my skills as a previous student loan collector to collect donations. The first picture that I have up there is the collection screen where we were able to see how much we've raised in donations. They did provide us a call script, to try to make sure that we were as pleasant as possible to the people that were donating and making sure that we were thanking them, as well as badges to be able to get around the building. If you've never been to WITF, I would strongly suggest visiting, as they do art shows that are open to the public. I'm very fortunate to have had been able to make a good impression on Miss Whitney Johnson, and that has opened the door to other students being able to do community service at WITF, which kind of goes in part with my community relationships and how I've been able to branch out as a student representing Central Penn College to WITF. I'm hoping that in the future other students will also take the opportunity to do community service at the station. Again, Whitney is very, very amazing in helping and in kind of getting an idea of what you're trying to do and making sure that they set you up with community service opportunities that are going to help you grow as well. Following my opportunity at WITF, where I was collecting funds for them, I was able to make a connection in Joseph, who does the digital marketing for Central Penn College through Professor Paul Miller. What we ended up doing was I ended up taking control of the students at Central Penn handles on Facebook as well as Twitter, and I was able to post content as a student to other students, to my peers. My job was to make sure that I was connecting with my peers and creating content that would speak to my peers. And how you follow up this, of course, there's total whole bunch of analytics, but I kind of tried to make sure I was paying attention to the feedback that other students were giving me, as well as how many likes I was getting. With posting on the students at Central Penn College page comes, developing content as well as coming up with a strategy to develop that content. My strategy at first was geared toward a lot of my interest. After a couple of days, I had to open the door to keep in mind that my audience was also involved and that I had to keep them in mind when I was posting information. So during that time, I posted, of course, about myself, my introduction, as well as Mr. Rogers, who is a Pittsburgh native, some of our staff and faculty, including Dr. Hector Ortiz, who won the Harrisburg Area Extra Mile Leadership Award, as well as Holly, who had assisted with, financial aid. She assisted me with some questions that I had. Some of my experiences with West Shore Young Professionals, who I was lucky enough to do coffee and connections with them and meet some incredible people. Again, all through LinkedIn, excuse me, and keeping my connections open, making sure that I follow up with thank you emails to people. All of this, kind of made this semester incredible. It gave me thoughts on, content to produce that I found, or that I, felt that my peers would be interested in seeing. In terms of content development, again, I made sure that my interests were always front and center, but I also tried to make sure that I balanced it with my audience. At the end of the day, the post reflected me, and I'm a student, but I also work full time. So it was important for me to talk about tuition. It was very important for me to make sure that the content that I developed, served the community, served the students that I was speaking to. So I made sure that I talked about tuition. I made sure that I talked about the importance of looking into scholarships, which were all things that I was doing while I was posting this content. In all honesty, ideas came to me at all times of the week, during the weekend, in the morning, and at night. So I would kind of just jotted down information that I felt I could build on. Some posts that I kind of thought of 2 weeks ago, I had to develop those for a week or a week and a half, find the correct picture, make sure that my post was authentic, make sure that it was fitting into Facebook as well as into Twitter in terms of characters. And I was very lucky to have Joseph be able to assist me with that throughout the time that I've been posting. I would send over my post to Joseph, and he would have the final say on, hey, correct here, include a picture there, because over his time in working, he knows that when you post pictures and limited words, the less is more in terms of social media, and you get more of a reaction with a picture than with, certain words. People like to skim nowadays. So you got to keep that in mind. You got to make sure that you are listening to the feedback that you're getting. With whatever you're doing, not just content development. With the strategy, again, I kind of just made sure that my interests were first and foremost, and that I made sure that I balanced it with what I felt other students were also interested in. It was super important to make sure that I was responding to people that were commenting on my post, as well as paying attention to what the likes or the views, the amounts looked like. Did I need to post less words, more pictures? Where were my posts going? How was I directing my posts? Did I make sure that I was speaking in the active person? So all these things were important. Again, what I've come to find out is that throughout the semester, communication, feedback, making sure that you are keeping in touch with your resources is extremely important. In terms of strategy, making sure that if you are in the realm of social media, you want to make sure that you're posting things for your followers every day around the same time, because it is something that they look forward to, that they are waiting for you to post. And if you're not posting it, then your brand or whoever you're representing could be diminished just because of consistency. So I found out that, in the long run, if this position were to open, it's not one that I would be interested in because of the pressure behind content development. It's very hard. It's very stressful to continue to be relevant, and to get feedback, to expect feedback, so that you're steering your ship in the right direction. So while I had a great time, I definitely found out that content development was not something that would interest me in the long run. What I did find out is that there is no uh, linear road to success. However, while there's no linear road to success, there are tons of steps to success that make you a better candidate, when you're searching for a career. My favorites are, of course, to listen, to have fun, and to give time. Currently, I'm a part-time student. I work full-time. However, I love WITF, but I'm not able to donate funds to them. I'm not financially as stable as I would like to be, but I do have time. And so I've made time for WITF. I've let them know that I'm interested in continuing doing community service with them, because they are important to me. So I want to continue to give my time to them. Again, it's very important to listen to feedback. People, your circle that's around you, your advisors and your friends, always make sure that you're looking for feedback and that you're listening to what they are advising, because ultimately everyone wants make sure you're putting your best foot forward. It's very important. Time is extremely important. Anytime that you're doing anything, make sure that you're very punctual and that you're always dressing the part. I cannot stress that through everything that I've been through, it's very important that you are dressing for the job that you want and not the job that you have. Thanks for giving me a listen, and enjoy the rest of your semester, guys.